Hi everyone, welcome back to another For Those Who Go video. This channel is where we discuss and learn new skills around the topic of design and development. If you want to grow your skills and learn new things that's coming up, please like, share, and please do subscribe for more. In this crash course video, we'll be learning on how we can build user interface with Chakra-ui. If you guys don't know about Chakra-ui, here are some key things that you need to know to implement Chakra-ui in your upcoming projects. So Chakra-ui is a great component library and it's built for React, and that makes it easy to build the user interface of a website or an app as well. In Chakra-ui, each component is made accessible, which follows up WAI area guidelines, which generally is a guidelines for making the application accessible, and which follows the principles of creating the interface for disabled people and making ability to disabled people to operate these kind of application. And for styling and customization, Chakra uses emotion under the hood, and it provides developer ability to style their components right inside of JavaScript with style prop. And as you can see here, we can just pass down style props to our div or our components inside of our components, and we'll go through these. And behind the scene, Chakra uses emotion, and it also uses style system. I have somehow found some places where it uses style system, but in some article they were not mentioning about style systems at all. But I hope it does use style systems as well, as far as I know. And it also includes dark mode out of the box, so we can just have our dark mode implementation just out of the box, just a few lines of code. And while building React app, it's beneficial to take the advantage of the isolated UI development to speed up the process. So Add Chakra uses utility props for styling. We'll be making the use of utility props to make our interface of Meetup.com. So we'll be cloning the interface of Meetup.com using Chakra-ui. And as you can see here, Meetup.com is looks really simple and clear and easy to read. So we just cloning the interface of Meetup.com, and it would be 100% responsive as well. So let's dive in making the UI clone of the Meetup.com using Chakra. As we discussed before, Chakra-ui is for React. So we'll go ahead and inside of Chakra-ui documentation, let's go to get started. And here we can see installation, and we can see some of the libraries that can be copied here. So let's go ahead and copy it. Before we just paste everything here, first of all, we need to create a React app with create React app. So I'll be just using create React app for now, and npx create React app and name it Chakra-ui Tutorial. After the project is ready, we can head on to cd and our project name here, and let's open up this in Visual Studio Code. And meanwhile, we will also make sure that everything is copied, all the name of the libraries, and let's close it. So let's see what do we have here. We have basic create React app. So now let's bring up the terminal and paste it the command that we just copied from Chakra-ui documentation. It says that our node version is incompatible, so we will use the same version that's allocated here with NVM. Now let's again try to install it. When everything is being downloaded for us, we will create a new folder now and call it components, and we'll be building our components inside of this. And inside here we'll create some components needed for us. We also need is a folder for our assets, so we will add assets, and we will also add fonts here. So I'll just bring in some assets needed and also create some components that's needed for us, and also I'll just add up fonts. And after everything, these three things, fonts, components has been created, and assets has been added, I will go ahead and set up a provider, which is the next step that we need to do. After all the components that's needed has been made, we will start with banner.jsx. And banner.jsx is just the banner which includes the navigation and these the first main fold that you see here, up to our search button, and also see what's happening here. So before we start, we need to, the React app with Chakra-ui provider. So let's add our wrapper of Chakra provider. Let's copy it, our Chakra provider, and go to our app.or index.js. Let's paste in the Chakra provider here, and we will just don't need the report with vitals for now, and wrap our component with Chakra provider, and we will just pass a custom theme inside there. And we'll be obviously making our custom theme because Chakra UI generally tells us to, if we want to use our own color or own typography or own personal theme that's custom and that's particular to our template, then use a custom theme. So we'll be creating a custom theme inside of our SRC here. So I will just create a new file and call it extend theme. And inside this extend theme, I will bring in all the fonts and colors, fonts, and font weight that we'll be using to build a UI clone of Meetup. We'll close this and we will hit save. It says custom theme is not defined, so we will be importing custom theme inside of here. Let's hit save, and if we take a look at the browser, everything should be working fine, and everything is working fine. So after we have wrapped our app with Chakra provider, we will now need to implement some pass down props to our components. So let's start with our banner.jsx here. So inside of our banner.jsx, we will be first like creating a header, and inside this here we'll be using a box. So if we search into our documentation here, box is generally just a div. It renders a div element, so we'll be importing box from our Chakra UI. So let's copy it and let's paste it in the top part of our banner here, and let's hit the save. And we haven't really made the use of box, so we will create a box, and inside this box we will create two divs, which would be this Meetup div and other would consist of login and sign up. So we'll start with this navigation here. So we'll just create a box for now, and inside this box we will add some props, like we will have two boxes. So we will have one box and two box, and then we will just add a flex. So it would be D for display and flex, and this should be an equal to align item center, justify content to space between, and margin left of 6. So if you go to our Chakra UI and go to our search for margins and paddings, it has a predefined margin for us. So it would be like margin top, margin right for MR, ME, and if you need to like style anything with props inside of Chakra, you can just go ahead and search for anything. For example, go to flex and you should see some styling that's needed. For example, flex direction, flex wrap, flex spaces, flex grow, flex shrink, and all of it necessary. So these are just the pre-made styles we are passing down as a prop to box here. So and we will just add margin left of 6, which is and margin right of 6, and inside of our box here we will be using another an image tag. So we'll just import image from our Chakra UI, and inside this box we will add this particular image, and inside the image we will not just inside the image, and it should not be closed. So I will just add image, and inside this image we'll add a box size, and box size is just an just a like of attribute that helps us to size the box. So box size and SRC of brand logo, and brand logo should be imported. So I'll just add, this would be a quick fix, and import brand logo from assets and logo. And after this has been imported, let's change this. After this has been imported, let's go to our alt attribute here, and inside another box we will just add a button. So for that we will just need to import button. There should not be a quotation, a double quotation there. And inside this box we will import a button from Chakra-ui and add a button there, and we will need a two button. So as you can see here, we need two buttons, login and sign up. So we will be just adding two buttons here, and one button will have padding right of 3, and color scheme we will be using gray of 600, which means that it uses the gray inside of our default theme. So you can access the default theme from here, default theme. And as you can see here, we have the gray of 100, 200, 300, which is our default theme. So if we hit refresh, we haven't really imported our banner yet. So and font size would be SM. So font size is also defined not here, but also inside of our documentation here, which is typography, and font size, which is a default theme. So we won't need to write this down. So I'll just added default theme, and variant would be a link. So let's add up another button here, and for another button we will be adding a different color scheme, and then we won't be having padding of right 3, and we will call it sign up. Now let's go ahead and import this banner inside of our app.js. We will remove everything, and we will also need to delete the CSS parts. We really won't be needing them anymore. After the banner has been imported, we will add a banner tag here, and this would be an empty fragment for now. So let's hit save, and it says index.css is missing. So we have really deleted that file. So let's delete this from here as well. Now everything is working fine. Let's hit on refresh, and we can see here our Meetup logo is here, and login and sign up is not well aligned. Let's see why. So let's go to banner. So after making our fixes there, let's go ahead and add our box. After our header is made, we will add our main punchline, and let's call it the main punchline, and which would be just the lines, which is the main. After the nav bar here, we have this dive in, and here we go, and an illustration here. So let's go ahead and build that. So inside here we will start with a box, and inside that box we will add up our container, and we will give some style props to our container of max width of container XL. You can find it in the documentation for like search it for container. So we haven't really imported container, so let's go ahead and import container. Now after importing container, let's go to our box here. So for our box here, we will add up our display of flex, and align center, padding Y of 20, and flex direction of row. And inside here we will add another box, and inside that box we will have a heading, and inside this heading we'll just add another box, and here we will have dive in, and there are, after this heading is closed, we'll add another box with margin top of 6 and font weight. And inside this box here, we'll just add a couple of lines from our official website of Meetup here. Container heading is not defined, so let's import it. We have the container imported, but let's see why we misspelled it. So let's copy and paste container, and also heading. It should be just font weight. And we will also add another box after we close this box here, and inside this box we will add an image, and it won't be just closing tag there. So we'll be adding the width of 100, and also src of illustration, which we will be importing. and also an alt text here. Let's close this box. So there was a bit fix for a nested box elements here. So if we see our UI is looking pretty much decent, and we won't be taking into consideration about this thick typography, as I just knew it that it's graphic meetup, which is same font weight of this, but we won't be just diving into specific font weights now, but both fonts are the same. But anyway, now let's move on to this another section here where we have also a container, and inside that container we will add in some grids of 3. So let's go to our next container. Adding up next container, which should be just 3 boxes. So let's call it 3 boxes, and inside here we will add up a container, and container will have a max width of container XL and margin top of 10, and inside here we'll add some grid, and grid will have a template columns of repeat 1 fraction unit, three 1 fraction unit, and we will create 3 boxes inside here. So basically what it will do is it will distribute the fraction unit to 3 of the boxes here. So inside this div box here, I will just add in the image, and it should be IMAGE, and the I is not small, so it would be image, and the image would be width of 100 and border radius of LG, which is a predefined styles, which is default styles predefined. So you can also search for border styles inside of documentation, and we will add the src of image 1 here, also give an alt attribute of image 3. This may not be a really good way of describing this image, but we will just go with this alt attribute for now. But I recommend not to use these kind of words, but explain what it is inside of the image. So after adding this, let's go to here and add some text here. It looks like grid and image 1 is not imported. Let's go ahead and import all the image, which is 1, 2, and 3, because we have 3, 1 FR, which is 3 grid of 1 FR, and let's paste it right in here. And for image 2, and we will import another thing would be grid. After everything is imported, let's make a replication of these boxes, and let's use image 2 and image 3 there. You can even make a different object like structure to a different file and like loop it down over here, but I've just decided to use everything static for now. And as you can see here, we have these grids aligned, which is looking pretty decent. We don't have any grid gaps here, so we'll make a new friend after the image and some caret icon over here, and do the other fixes. So this would be this below. After the image tag, I'll just add another button here of the color scheme teal, and variant is just a link, and image tag there, which imports right arrow. We really haven't imported right arrow, so let's import right arrow from assets, and this looks decent. So now let's move on to another section where we have these tags here. So for that one, we will create a new container and call it pills. So for now, we'll just add a new section here with pills, and for the pills we will obviously make the use of container, and the container will have a max width of container XL, and inside here we will just add a box, and inside that box we will have a badge and another badge and another badge inside here. So for this box, I will just add a few lines of props, style props, which would be direction of row display of flex and flex wrap would be wrap, and justify content would be space between. And let's also add some props to our badge here. So for the badge, I have added some props of border radius, padding of in x-axis of 4, padding y of 2, margin right, margin bottom, and text transform normal, and color and background of blue 100. So I will just add some text here of like boost your career. Now the badge is not imported, so let's also import badge from Chakra. Let's hit save and let's take a look at the browser. As you can see here, we can see our badge here, so which is great. Now let's replicate the badge more and let's repeat it again and again. Let's also add some spaces and the y-axis of margin y10, and I will grab some badges that's needed and just add badges here, so we will have a couple of badges to fiddle around with. So now our badge section looks decent, but we have some font kind of thing here, but we will stick with this for now. So now let's move on to the last section of the header, which is what you want to do and see what's happening. We'll obviously be using grids for this one. So let's go ahead and say add last header section, and we will make a container, and that container would be max width of container XL and a bit of margin top of 20. And let's add a grid here. The grid would have a template columns of repeat to 1 FR unit and add a gap of 6. Inside this grid we'll make a box. Inside this we'll add a heading, and the heading won't be closing it, so the heading would have edge 3, which renders it as edge 3, and give it a size of LG, which is large, and a bit of margin bottom of 7. So I think we need to close this heading, so I'll just add here. And after closing this heading inside here, so after closing this particular heading here, we'll add another box. So this box will have a display of flex, align center, text direction of row, and let's also give it a width of 100. And inside this box we'll add another box, and let's call it a flex basis of 50, and also give it a width of 100 and margin right of 2. And inside here we will have a form control, which is needed for us in order to add form fields. Inside here we will add a box, and for that box we will add a position of and add an input tag, and inside this input tag we will add some padding left, a placeholder, and type of text, and a width of 100. And let's also add another box inside after the input is closed, and that box would stay position absolute, and that box would contain the SVG of the icons, which is this one. And after that's done, we will move to when the form control closes, and inside this another form control here we will also grab the same thing that we did here, which is flex basis of, and let's also import input. Let's hit save and let's take a look at the browser and give it a refresh. Looks like string contains an invalid character. Let's take a look at what we did wrong. After we have added 2 form fields here with a position absolute of this icon, we will now add a button. So for button we will just add a margin top 5, padding top, padding bottom, width of 100, color and background and font size of LG, with some hover state like this. And as you can see here, we have the hover state underscore hover and opacity of 0.8. So after this is done, we have this box here, which basically has all the fields. So I will just grab all the boxes that we need. So I mean all the badges that we need to fill up this particular box here. And this box will have a heading, and which is see what's happening.
and all the pills that has it, which is the base of border radius, and it will be like wrapped by a box, and padding of X, padding of Y, margin right, padding margin bottom, color, text transform, and background of blue. So after this is done, let's check, and everything looks working fine. Now let's go ahead and add this 3 section with grids. So let's go to our next component here, which is our how Meetup works. So let's go to it works. So now inside this it works, we will add some container with some grids, and inside of our it works component I added a box, and inside this box let's add a container, and inside this container we will add the max width of container XL and margin Y of 20, and I have left out a code there. And inside this container let's add a heading, and for our heading we will just add how Meetup works. Let's grab it and paste it how Meetup works there, and let's add some style props to our heading as well. And for our style props, we align center as S3 and size of LG and padding border of 2. And after the heading has been closed, let's add another box, and this box will be this text right here, which is meet new people. And let's also grab in some style props to our box here of align center, max width of 700 pixels, MX auto, and padding bottom of 10. Let's hit save, and if we look here, we don't see it here because we haven't imported our component yet. So let's go to app.js, let's import our it works, and let's also add it works down here, and we need to also name this it works. And let's go to our it works here. I still wonder why it creates an curly braces there, but our container and heading is not imported. Let's also import this, and if we take a look at the browser, here we have our how Meetup works and this text. So we are making good progress. Now let's move ahead and add some grids here. So inside it works, I will just add some grids. So inside this box we will have grid container, and inside this grid we will add the template columns to repeat 3 1FR and a gap of 6. And inside this grid we will make 3 boxes, which is 1 box and 2 box and 3 box, which generally says repeat 3 box with 1 fraction unit. And if we hit on save, then we should see everything working, but we haven't imported grid, so let's import grid as well. And as you can see, we have a there. So inside that particular box, I want to add in few images, heading, and text. So I'll just grab in some box element here and paste it right here. Inside this box we have image with width of 100, box size of 160 pixels, and this src is join group. So we haven't really imported join group, so I'll just import all the 3 images that we need. And down here I will also add other boxes that we need as well. Looks like a couple of things are not imported. Let's go ahead and import it. Looks like everything is working fine. Let's go ahead and see it in the browser. And as we can see here, we have how Meetup works and 3 icons here, which is similar to what we have here. Let's go ahead and add this button guy as well. So in order to add that button, we will create a new box before the container ends. So create a new box. Inside this box, I will just grab in and add some box style props to this one of align center, margin top of 16, and hover it would be opacity of 0.8, and background of blue of 100, color of white, font weight normal, and size of medium. And join Meetup would be the call to action what we have, but it looks like button is not imported, so let's also grab in button. And as you can see here, our it works section is also looks perfect. Now let's move on to upcoming online events. Here we will also distribute this, but we won't be really making slider for this one, just using grids and just flex to align this to space between and some flex grids. So now moving on to upcoming online event, let's go to upcoming, and inside upcoming we will firstly import our the three images that we can see here, which is autographical meetup and here. So we will import everything here, and we also need to import our box first of all, and let's also add a margin top of 20. And inside this box I will add a couple of grids here. First of all, we need container. Let's add a container, and the container would be max width of container XL, so also let's add that style prop there. And also we need a box, and this box will also add some style props of margin bottom 7 and display flex and align item center, justify content space between. So whatever comes in between here will align itself to justify I mean space between, justify content. So if it's A and B, it would become same. So let's save it, but I think we haven't exported upcomings yet. So inside of box 1 I will just add heading, because we have a heading and a CTA. So also inside box 2 I'll just go ahead and add a link there. So let's hit save, and we have a heading and a link similar to what we have here, heading and link. So we don't see our component being loaded, so let's go ahead and import upcomings inside of app.js. So let's import upcomings. Let's grab it and paste it right here. Look like upcomings. Let's add upcomings down here as well. So let's go ahead and add import everything. Let's hit save and heading and link. Looks like it's looking fine. We have a space in between and two div elements with the wrapper of display flex, align item centers, and justify content space between. Now let's move ahead with adding some of the sections down below. For the sections down below, I'll be just walking through the boxes. So for the boxes, what we have here is inside of our container. I'll just bring on grid, and inside this grid here, let's create a box, or just grab a box that that is pre-made. So I'll just add a box here. Now I'll just add 3 boxes for now, and I'll come to this later on. So the place where we made our grid, let's add template columns of 4, repeat for 1 FR unit, and give a gap of 6. After this has been done, let's add all the boxes that we need inside here. Currently we just have 1 box, so I will just add 4 boxes here, so it would be a little bit of lengthy. So let's go ahead and hit save. It looks like a couple of things are yet needed to import, and let's import grid and image, and it looks like everything is working fine. So let's quickly go through the boxes that we created inside this grid. So for the grid box, we have added some comments. You can also check the code down below. So it has a width of 100%, align of left, and position would be relative because we want something to be position absolute. And we have the image right, which is the big image right here. It's position relative because this needs to be an absolute. And we have a flex display, and align item center, border radius of 5, background, some font size, margin, and padding X and padding Y. And here we added our SVG of online event, so it would be this particular small guy here. So and we added some box for our dates, give it a color, width, and margin top, and heading with some flex align center and then it's not flex but align center as at 6. And also we added the image with the image src of Segan, which is the core author of this library. And let's hit save and let's take a look at the browser. It looks decent. So now let's move ahead with this part, which is pretty much similar. So I'll just go ahead and add these boxes here. So if you go to popular, let's add some more imports that we need. So I'll add all the bunch of imports that we'll be using because I want to move this video a little bit faster. And I'll also import this popular image. And let's first start with the box element, and inside this box element let's add a container. And for the box element let's add a bit of margin top and container to be max width of container XL, because we want to everything to be inside a container. And let's also add a grid here, and inside this grid we will repeat 3 FR units to our, and inside here we need 3 divs. So for now I'll just add 3 boxes. So I'll grab in 3 boxes that we have and place it inside here. So let's take a look at the boxes here. So it's the same, repeat 3 of 1 FR unit. So if we take a look at the box, we have a box which is just a div, border of 1 pixel and border color and padding of 15, width of 100%, and align left. Inside this we have another box of image, heading, and a divider, and also these font width and colors. So there's nothing specific new, everything is discussed earlier. So we have all the style props added to these elements. So let's take a look at what do we see here in the browser. It looks like everything is matching. So if we can see here, we have popular groups, and I think we have forgotten our heading. So let's add a heading here. So it would be right in here. We'll just add popular groups, and these boxes are just the divs of space between. So it is out of the container. So I'll just bring everything inside a container and format a bit, hit save, and take a look at the browser, and everything looks decent and it's nearly similar. All right, so let's move on to this particular section here. And for this particular section I'll just add 2 images here and a div right here with just grid CSS grids. It looks like we will be using flex for now, so I'll just stick with flex. And let's take a look at the box that we have. So we'll have just a 3 box here, and just everything is inside a container. So let's move on to connected, and inside this connected we will just import box and wrap everything inside a box and give this box a margin of y-axis to 20. And inside this box I will we need a container to everything, hold everything in between, and add a box inside image, and a box, and inside that box an image. And this would be a position relative, and I'll just grab in the container, or just add a container here. So inside this container we have a max width of container XL, and inside here we'll add another box, and inside here there would be 3 boxes. So 1 box for our right image. So I'll just grab in the right image box and paste it right in here, but looks like we have currently we just have 1 box here. So I'll just add some style props of display flex and everything to space between. And inside this box I've just added display of block, so we can just write display block for now because I just added some media queries in advance. So it would be a block, and an image. So this is currently just one box inside this flex wrapper, and let's add another box here. For another box we have stay connected, which is a heading which adds like add 6, and its wrapper is a box element which MX auto and left of 0, and we have a meetup logo, and also text of stay connected, and we have an image here. So I think we need a last box here, so let's go ahead and add last box here. Let's format a bit. It looks like we haven't really imported these icons here, so let's go ahead and import everything we need. So let's hit a save, and we also need our container and some images. So let's add container and images inside of our imports, and if we hit a refresh, not here but here. Personally I was confused whether I was watching a live site of Meetup, but yeah, generally we added a flex to the parent and image of 260 with the src attribute, and also we have another box here with the image, and display can be just block. So let's copy this because this is a responsive part which we will be covering later. Now if we take a look at here, everything looks perfect. So now let's move on to this particular section. This particular section would be pretty much same that this is. Specifically, I'm playing around and fiddling around grids. So I'll just add stories section right here and grab everything of stories inside of our meetup here. So it would be everything. So I just wanted to like quickly move forward. So this would be like a media query which we'll be covering later. So this would be repeat3 1fr for now, and we just added a container of Excel and then box with flex and space between whether we have the heading and some text right here, and we also added some template columns and added 3 box inside there, and inside this 3 box we added a link and wrapped it inside of image and box and heading, and also gave it a heading, and also just a simple box here. So this is just an repetition of this one, and obviously we have our image which is position relative, and we have I think this should be just image because this is not like a relative element to be made, so we can ignore this for now, and everything looks similar and everything is fine. So now let's move ahead and add a footer. So inside of our footer bottom, I'll just go ahead and grab things that we need. Inside of our footer bottom, I've added all the things that we need, and we will gradually go through it. So we have a footer bottom, and we have a box of margin top and color and background, and we have a container where we have a box which is display flex and align center, and we just have a heading and a button which is this guy right here, and we have a divider, and after the divider we have a box, and we inside this parent div, it's flex with flex direction row and aligns to top. So inside this flex we have 3 boxes. Let's take a look at one of the box, and this particular box right here is flex of 1, so that it expands everything from here to here. So each of the boxes is flex of 1, margin bottom 0, which consists of heading of your account, and these links which is just inside a list item. So in this follow-up right here we have again which is flex of space between LNM center, and we don't need this flex now, and we have our links here, which is 1 link, 2 link, and 3 link, which is 4 links of this Instagram 1, 2, 3, 4, which wraps the SVG icons, and we have a box of deflex. And after this done, I will just also add margin top of 0 for this, and we have another box of flex for this one right here, and it's just space between, and we have an image tag of 128 of height and width, height of 38 and width of 128. After this is done, we have everything of flex box here with just the link with flex wrap, no wrap. And after this is done, let's go ahead and format this, and let's add a background image to here, because as we can see here, we have some kind of background there. So to add a background, I have already added background inside of our assets. So I'll just importing everything inside of assets. So to add a background here, we need to go to our main app.js file. So inside app.js file, I will just create a box, and inside this box, which would be position of absolute, inside this box we will have everything from the components that we made, and outside this position absolute box we will add our image box. So which generally is everything is position absolute with left 0, top 0, and right 0, and everything here is relative of top 0, bottom 0, right 0, left 0, and height of 100 VH and Z index of -1. And we still need to import this image background. Let's go ahead and import this here. Also, we need to import box and image we use from Chakra-ui. So let's go ahead and see it inside the browser, and as we can see here, our image has been added to the background. But we do see some glitches, like these images are actually position absolute, but we just used it as a background image here. So everything looks fine, but if we take a look at some responsiveness, now let's go ahead and fix this responsiveness. As we can see here in mobile devices, it's a little bit messed up. So it's simple to work with responsiveness inside of Chakra. So if we go to responsive styles, then you can see here we have a couple of breakpoints that's ready for us, which is SM, MD, LD, and XL. And also in case of 2XL, you can use it. And you can also customize the breakpoints if you need, which is all in the documentation. So and to write our responsive media queries, in a sense, we can have two options. One is to use an object syntax or to use an array syntax, which is, I guess it's somewhere here, which it is, the array syntax. So I would rather prefer to go with the object syntax because it's easier to read and explicitly says base, MD, LG, SM on all stuff. So let's go ahead and add some fixes to our responsiveness here. So let's start with this banner. So this banner would be our banner. So inside of our banner, let's go to the box statement, which is main punchline. Inside here, we have flex direction of row, and we want to change this particular thing to from row to columns when we reach a certain breakpoint. And that would be a predefined breakpoint from this documentation. So if we take a look here, we have SM, MD, LG, and XL, which are predefined. So we'll be making the use of predefined breakpoints. So for direction, I will replace it with this object structure that we can see here. And taking a look at this object structure, we can say that this SM is column, and MD size would be row, LG is row, Excel is row, and the base, the smallest size, which is the base size, would be column. Let's hit save, and if we take a look at the responsive part, as you can see here, it's becoming responsive. So this is fine for now. Let's move ahead to this particular section. So to work with that particular section, we obviously need to fiddle around so inside this template columns, we want to break this particular grid to repeat of 1 inside of small devices. So we'll add this, which is in small, repeat 1 of 1 FR unit, and base would be 1 of 1 FR. In medium size, it would be repeat 2 1 FR. In large size, it would be repeat 2 1 FR. In extra large, it would be repeat 2 1 FR. So after that has been done, if we take a look at our interface here, it's working fine. Now let's move ahead to work with this. So in order to add our fixes to this, we have to add more fixes. So let's go ahead to our portion here where it says what do what, in a sense this one. So it looks like we have added breakpoints here, but it doesn't really seem to work because we haven't really you know, added the template columns. So after this has been added, this should work fine, and it works because we just added repeat 1 FR unit in small devices, and we are looking in the small device. So, and we also added some of the changes inside here, where in the flex spaces we have the base of 100, and if it's a small device it's 100%, and margin right in small device it would be 0, which is added here to the box element as well. So as you got the point, it's just key value pairs with SM, MD, LG, XL, and base, and everything would be fine. Now let's move ahead to our meetup section, and this is pretty straightforward. So inside this we have made the use of grids. So inside that particular grid that we created, which is this, we want to replace it with, when it's a small device, it's 1 of FR, 1 FR, medium 3, large 3, extra large 3, and base would be 1. So let's hit a save, and taking a look at the browser, we have everything stacked on top of each other. And we will also use the same to this one, which is upcoming online events. So we will also add the same changes like we did here, which would be just adding our repeat to 1 FR to our upcoming. So inside of upcoming, we will go to the breakpoints that we have, which is our breakpoint, let's see, which is this one. Let's replace it with key value pairs of these style props and hit a save. And if you take a look at this, then it's damn easy to work with this object syntax for responsiveness. Now let's move on around this popular groups. So go to popular, and inside popular we will add the same thing that we did, which is just switch template columns of to a different size in different devices, and I'll just add these key value pairs for now, and it should work fine. So okay, let's come to this particular statement where section where we have these 3 images. So for these images we will go to our it works spot, and inside not it works, inside connected we need to go to the box where we have a display of block right here, and we will replace it with this statement, and we will also do the same for another box which has the another image. which is device left and device right. Let's hit save and let's take a look. And as we can see here, we don't have these mobile in smaller devices. So that's what I was looking for. So now let's move ahead to this particular section. So stories of our meetup. So let's go to stories, and inside these stories we will just fiddle around template columns here. So let's go to template columns part, and we'll add some style props to with the help of key value pairs. And as you can see, everything is stacked and working fine as expected. Now the last thing is to do is this part where we have a flex of 1, flex of 1, and flex of 1. We'll just add a flex basis of 100 to each, and or we can just add change the display direction. So for that we will just switch to our footer bottom, and inside footer bottom we can go to our line here where we have a flex direction of row, and we'll change this to flex direction of column in small sizes, and also change this margin bottom of inside flex 1 margin bottom, because we want a little bit of margin bottom when it's small size. So we'll add this to all the elements that we have. It looks like it's working fine. Just the last thing is responsive fixes for these two. So for that I will just add flex direction of columns in small sizes for follow-up. So flex direction of column in small sizes and row in large sizes, and also make the changes to the space between these align items as well, which should be just align items left when you have small sizes. All right, so lastly I want to add some spaces to our Android app on the top of there. So I'll just add SM of 10, and in small devices we can have a small gap of here. So and it looks perfect as expected, so to say. So lastly, let's move on to the last part, which is the footer, and we will just add a key value pairs of responsiveness of SM, MD, LG, XL here. In small device, just wrap the flex child, and which should be decent for now. It looks like everything is as expected, and we have everything working as expected. Okay, just except we have this section is not working as expected. So let's take a quick fix on that one. After adding all the necessary fixes and quickly going through the start props that we added to the components, the current site looks something like this, which is as expected. So which looks decent. So yeah guys, in this video we learned about building interfaces with Chakra-ui, and we got quickly and just adding some snippets to some of the parts, but I hope you got the point and you are quite familiar and confident enough to implement this in your next project. If you guys want to learn more about design and development skills, please like, share, and please do subscribe with a click down below, and also please join our growing Discord community server added in the description as well. Thanks a lot guys, see you in the next one.